Welcome to This Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to dive into this with you today. We're going to explore what is honestly one of the most empowering shifts in modern medical science, the fascinating way our daily choices interact with our very DNA. For decades, we were told a pretty simple story, a story about genetics that left a lot of us feeling like mere passengers in our own bodies. But the latest research on integrated medicine and whole person care, it's completely rewriting that narrative. We now have an incredibly clear scientific understanding of how our environment and our behaviors are continuously talking to our cells.
Which brings us to a massive question, one that has honestly hovered over healthcare for decades. Is your DNA truly your destiny? It's a super common myth, this idea of genetic fatalism. We often think that, hey, if a disease runs in our family, our genetic code has basically pre-programmed our future. No way around it. But the science shows that genomics data only provides critical insight into your inherited susceptibility. Your DNA is just a foundational map. It absolutely does not dictate an inevitable, unchangeable disease trajectory. The truth is much more dynamic and, frankly, a lot more optimistic.
So the key to busting that myth wide open lies right here: epigenetic regulation. Modern research proves that our genes interact continuously with our environment and our lifestyle. Think of your DNA as a grand piano, and your daily lifestyle? That's the musician. Epigenetic regulation is a process by which factors like nutrition, physical activity, sleep, and stress directly influence which of those genetic keys get played, meaning which genes are actively expressed and turned on or suppressed and turned off. And because of this continuous interaction, two individuals with the exact same genetic risk profile can have vastly different long-term health outcomes, depending entirely on their daily behaviors and environment. Here is our roadmap for today's explainer. First, we'll tackle the genetic destiny myth. Second, revealing epigenetic potential. Third, powering advanced predictive analytics. Fourth, early and personalized interventions. And fifth, reclaiming your biological destiny. All right, Section 1, the genetic destiny myth. To really reclaim our biological destiny, we kind of have to rethink how we view health as a whole. For a long time, traditional medical models have been organized around specific diseases and individual organs. This siloed approach, where a cardiologist specializes in the heart, a neurologist in the brain, has obviously produced remarkable advances. But human biology is incredibly complex. The human body functions as a deeply interconnected network. Think about how being totally stressed out can instantly upset your stomach. Chronic diseases rarely respect the neat little boundaries between medical specialties. Obesity affects your cardiovascular health, your hormones, mental well-being, and even your cancer risk. So medicine is now shifting to an integrated systems biology approach. Your health isn't determined by a single isolated organ, it's a vast communication network where your immune system, your nervous system, and your gut are all constantly talking to each other.
Moving on to Section 2, revealing your epigenetic potential.
So this interconnected network in your body is quite literally always listening to the outside world. But what exactly is the environment telling your genes? Well, it boils down to these three foundational steps: nutrition, sleep, and movement. These specific daily habits act as continuous biological communication with our cells. When we exercise, we aren't just burning calories, right? Movement functions as a biological medicine that enhances insulin sensitivity, stimulates brain neuroplasticity, and actively reduces inflammation. When we sleep, we're firing up powerful biological processes essential for memory consolidation, immune regulation, and cellular repair. By optimizing these three areas, we are actively turning disease-promoting genes off and health-promoting genes on.
Nutrition is honestly one of the most powerful examples of this. Food is not merely a source of calories. Food actually provides the molecular signals that dictate your metabolism, immunity, and cellular function. Diets rich in plant-based foods, fiber, and healthy fats support highly beneficial metabolic pathways and promote a diverse, healthy gut microbiome. On the flip side, highly processed foods send out inflammatory signals that actively contribute to metabolic dysfunction. The food choices you make every single day represent a form of continuous biological communication with your cells. You are literally instructing your DNA on how to behave with every bite you take.
Section 3, powering advanced predictive analytics. Now, knowing that our choices impact our genetics is incredible on its own. But what happens when we hook that biological truth up to modern technology? In integrated healthcare models, your genomic data is not evaluated in isolation. It gets supercharged by this integrated tech stack. Healthcare professionals are now combining your genetic baseline with artificial intelligence, metabolomics, wearable monitoring, and digital health platforms. By analyzing your genetic profiling alongside real-time physiological and behavioral data from your wearables, your healthcare team gets unprecedented insight into your highly individual health patterns. They can track how your current lifestyle is interacting with your genes in real time. This is exactly where healthcare shifts from being reactive to highly proactive.
You can really see the monumental shift here. We're moving away from fragmented, disconnected care and stepping into a fully integrated biological network. When advanced predictive analytics are overlaid with this systemic view of human physiology, doctors no longer have to wait for an emergency to happen. They can identify risks and underlying biological imbalances much earlier in a person's life, often years before a chronic disease actually progresses.
Okay, Section 4. Early and personalized interventions.
This early identification is a total game changer because integrated healthcare teams understand your genetic baseline and they have your real-time data. They can deploy highly tailored lifestyle modifications rather than waiting for things to go wrong. We're talking about targeted complementary approaches, like using herbs such as ashwagandha for stress and anxiety, or fenugreek to support metabolic health and type 2 diabetes. And when you look at the systemic economic impact of lifestyle interventions, like community yoga, for example, the results are incredible. A targeted, sustainable, community-based approach doesn't just improve individual health, it yields massive returns on investment by reducing hospital admissions, GP consultations, and emergency attendances. It's a huge win for the individual's biology and a massive win for the healthcare system overall.
Let's zoom in a bit deeper on a specific holistic intervention like yoga to see how this builds out. This maps out how yoga acts as a systems-based biological medicine. And let's be super clear, it is not just stretching. It is restoring balance across your cardiovascular, neurological, endocrine, and immune systems all at the exact same time. By incorporating physical postures, breath regulation, and meditation, these practices directly address the root imbalances that give rise to chronic disease, proving that lifestyle is indeed an incredibly potent form of medicine.
The absolute crucial point here is that mind-body practices are way more than just feel-good activities. They trigger highly measurable biological mechanisms. They improve your vagal tone, and they dial down that sympathetic overactivity we get from chronic stress. They actively decrease inflammatory cytokines, boost insulin sensitivity, and regulate the secretion of your stress hormone, cortisol. These are profound physiological shifts that alter stress pathways and directly support healthy epigenetic expression. You are actively altering your biology from the inside out.
And finally, Section 5, Reclaiming Your Biological Destiny. So, we've seen the science, we've looked at the tech, and we've walked through the measurable impacts of lifestyle interventions. But I really want to leave you with this one powerful thought. Genomics is your baseline, but your choices write the rest of the story. Ultimately, your genomics data does not predict an inevitable doomed disease trajectory. It is simply a foundational map. What the science of predictive, integrated medicine proves beyond a shadow of a doubt is that you have immense power over how your body functions. Through targeted, holistic lifestyle choices, how you eat, how you move, how you manage stress, and how you sleep, you are continuously communicating with your DNA. You are not a helpless passenger, you are the driver. So the big question to ask yourself today is, what kind of story do you want your choices to write? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I highly encourage you to start making those empowering choices today.